This Shravan, awaken your inner Rudra through the sacred power of Rudraksha.
Hello everyone, we are here today to talk about one of the most important months as per the Hindu calendar, Shravan. And we have with us Mr. Sukritya Khatiwada, a third generation Vedic expert and the CEO of Nepa Rudraksha. Hello sir.
Thank you, Purva.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. My first question to you is, what is Shravan?
So, Shravan, to be very literal, is a month in the Hindu calendar, but Shravan is much more than just a month. I call Shravan as a portal for transformation to happen. Shravan is a time where you reflect inwards, look at the poisons, look at the negativity within you, and try to embrace them, face them, just like Shiva did during the Samudra Manthan, and be known by your setbacks, be known by your challenges, and come out as Neelkantha, come out victorious. So Shravan, in short, is a time for spiritual transformation, and it is the strongest time for change to happen.
So what is the story of Shravan?
So there's multiple stories when it comes to Shravan. There is stories of Parvati and her, vrat to attain Shiva. There is Samudra Manthan. But the most important story when it comes to Shravan, which really helps us understand the theme of the month, is the story of Samudra Manthan. The story of Samudra Manthan is found in Bhagavad Puran, Vishnu Puran, Shiva Puran, Mahabharata even. The story of Samudra Manthan is when Devas and Asuras churned the ocean using Vasuki as the rope. That is when the Halahal, the poison came out, and then eventually Amrit came out. The Halahal was so fierce and so strong that the only god, only deity that was able to face the Halahal was Lord Shiva, who drank the Halahal and contained it in his throat and became known as the Neelkantha. Now, when we look at this story of Samudra Manthan, it's greater than just a mythology or greater than just a story. The story of Samudra Manthan is happening in each and every one of us, our lives, every single day. We have the forces of negativity, we have the forces of positivity in the ocean of our mind. And we are supposed to churn this ocean using sadhana as the rope to churning. And what comes out first when we churn the ocean of our mind is not going to be instant blessings or instant gratification. What is going to come is negativity, past traumas, karmic blockages, which we have to face. And when we face them, just like Shiva faced the Halahal poison, we will come out victorious and we will be able to embrace the Amrit, which is also already within us. So the story of Samudra Manthan is the story of Shravan, but when we understand the story deeper, we get to realize how strong and how transformative the forces, the nature, and the consciousness is during this holy month of Shravan.
So what are the sadhanas that you talk about, which are very important to transform during Shravan?
Sadhana is a practice that is done continuously, but it should be a practice that is more accessible to you. Shravan is a time where we fast on Somvars or on Mondays, but a fast is not just a restraint from food. It is restraint from distraction. It is restraint from things that keep us from reflecting inwards. Shravan is a time for that. The sadhana that you should be doing during Shravan is to really understand who you really are by restraining, by fasting against any distraction or anything that keeps you from looking within and facing your challenges. Second, the chanting of mantras, which give power to the devta, to the sattvic energies within you, and helps you minimize the potency and minimize the influence of asur, is very important. Even in Shravan, we use tools like Rudrakshas, which help bring the sattvic tattva, the guru tattva that is within us, and help the devtas attain victory against the battle with asuras, both of which are within us, and eventually help us attain the Amrit.
The funny thing is that when you say that both asuras and devatas are within us, that actually reminds me of how Kaliyuga was actually described. So,
Yeah.
when we go back to scriptures, which are the scriptures that you would suggest that people should read to understand more about Shravan or understand more about this fight that is going on within themselves?
Yes. So, Sanatan Dharma, what I've always told, is so deep that, you don't even need to read scriptures. You can just read a story. And if you understand the depth of the story, that is within itself a scripture. But if someone is genuinely interested in diving deeper into the Mahima of Shravan, Shiva Puran, Bhagavad Puran, Vishnu Puran, Bhagavad Puran, starting from chapter 5, talks about the Samudra Manthan and talks about the importance of Shravan. So, reading these scriptures and reflecting inwards during the time of Shravan is definitely a sadhana in itself.
And what are the rituals? So, we understand we have to do sadhana, but are there some specific rituals that we're supposed to follow during Shravan?
So, rituals are practices that have been done by sadhaks or yogis to attain a certain level of spiritual upliftment. And by looking at those practices, we have tried to mimic those, and those eventually become rituals. What has worked is, even though Shravan in itself is a very, very transformative time, the Somvars, the Mondays of Shravan, happen to be even more transformative, because the energy of the moon, the energy of Lord Shiva, who is also known as Somnath, in Monday is very, very accessible to the humankind. So fasting on Somvars, visiting the temples of Lord Shiva on Shravan Mondays, chanting the mantras like the Om Namah Shivaya mantra or the Mahamrityunjaya mantra during the time of Shravan is highly auspicious. People begin their journey of Rudraksha, mantra chanting, receive Diksha during the time of Shravan. So Shravan is a time where you embrace the challenges. A lot of us don't follow rituals or don't do sadhanas because we feel we're not ready. But to be honest, no one is really ready ever to face the asuras or the halahal poisons that are within us. We must take the opportunity of Shravan to feel that we are ready and face these challenges. So these rituals that I just said can be done by anyone. I would not recommend constraining yourself or, limiting yourself just because maybe a temple is not close by. Maybe you have not, you don't have access to Rudraksha yet. Even a single mantra of Lord Shiva, chanted with sincere intentions during the month of Shravan, is enough of a sadhana, is enough of a ritual during the month of Shravan.
So what's beautiful is that you always give the option to make it accessible. And that's what's
Yes.
wonderful about it. So I don't need, if I don't have a temple, I have some other way. It's the intention that really counts. And we've heard you
Correct.
speak a lot about Rudraksh and its transformative powers. And you earlier said that we should be using Rudraksh during Shravan. So how do we actually use the Rudraksh so that the transformation happens?
So there is a Rudraksha is one of the most potent tools when it comes to transformation and attaining the Shiva Tattva. During Shravan, it has been rituals, and it has been since ages that people have started their journey of Rudraksha. Some people who are already in the Rudraksha journey advance their journeys during the Shravan month to take to reap the benefit of this auspicious month, in addition to highly and ever auspicious Rudraksha. What is done is, most people energize or do their prana pratishta puja of the Rudrakshas during the month of Shravan. The dharan, the sankalpa, which is the setting of intentions, the sankalpa of dharma, artha, kama, moksha, siddhi, taken during the time of Shravan, is so powerful that the negative forces that might affect your sankalpa, might affect your dharana, might affect your journey of spirituality is not not strong enough to hinder you from the path, if that sankalpa is taken in auspicious time like Shravan.
So, would you also they say that if I'm scared of wearing Rudraksh because of the, I always feel, oh, there would be rituals, there would be restrictions, and maybe I'm not strong enough, I'm not ready for this. Would you say that then Shravan is the perfect time for me to start my journey, or at least try to
Absolutely.
start my journey?
Absolutely. I have encountered many people who are, let alone Rudraksha, are scared to chant the mantras of Shiva because they feel that they're not pure enough. They feel that they're not clean enough. They feel that their intention is not pure enough. Trust me, every one of us has the yin and yang within us, the negativity and the positivity within us. It is when you give positivity a chance and when you nurture, when you water the positivity, then the seeds of positivity eventually grow within us. Rudraksha has or is not for a perfect person, but it is a tool for you to reach closer towards perfection. So don't wait for everything to be perfect, for you to be the most sattvic and realized, for you to begin a journey that is meant for you to reach the point of, sattvicness, for you to reach the point of realization. So tools are used when you're in the beginning of the journey, or when you're in the fierce, path of the journey where you need support. So what I say to people is, don't wait for the perfect time. The tool will build the perfect time for you.
So if I'm new to this, what is the one Rudraksh? Because there are certain kinds, right? So which is the one Rudraksh that you would suggest? Of course, without specific personal details, something that everybody can use during Shravan.
So while every single Rudraksha can be worn by every person, my approach has always been traditional when it comes to Rudraksha. What I recommend is, if possible, if accessible, I would recommend wearing a Siddha Mala during the month of Shravan, because it is really the most balanced way a person can attain significant changes during the month of Shravan, or any month other than Shravan as well. The Siddha Mala has beautiful balance of all planetary elements, and you can wear the Siddha Mala. For someone who even wants to start from a single Rudraksha, for example, Rudraksha like the 14 Mukhi Rudraksha, which is a Rudraksha for Shani, which is a Rudraksha for Mangal, which is a Rudraksha for Hanuman, is a Rudraksha that can be worn. According to Shiva Purana, the 14 Mukhi Rudraksha is representation of Lord Shiva himself as well. So wearing the 14 Mukhi Rudraksha during the month of Shravan will definitely aid you in your sadhana and karmic purification as well.
I also wanted to ask you if I can ask about if I already have a Rudraksh, like if I already have the Siddhamala, then what is it that I can do?
So if you already have a Siddha Mala, the best practice during the time of Shravan is definitely to upgrade to a higher form of Siddha Mala, if that is a possibility for you. If not, if you have a single Rudraksha, then consulting experts to see the time frame, see what might be the best Rudraksha that is going to advance you in your journey, would definitely help. That's the reason, Nepa Rudraksha, we have always tried to make consultation and advice be more accessible to people. Just, reach out to my team or myself, and we will be able to guide you in terms of what might be the better next move for you. If you require a more advanced mala, if you require a different rudraksha that aids you in your journey of spiritual transformation that you're in.
That's great. Just one confusion, and I'm sure a lot of people share that. We heard you speak about why Shravan, why sadhana during
Yeah.
Shravan. Now, it's a very generic question. What is the difference between me doing sadhana during Shravan or any other time of the year for that matter?
So, see, I always give an example of plantation and connect it with sadhana. You reap what you sow. The harvest that you have in your life is a direct result of the plantation. A lot of us who don't do sadhana are still getting good results because we are depending on our prenatal karma or the karma of our previous birth. But at some time when you don't do sadhana, when you're not thankful, when you're not grateful, when you don't do the basic practices that are available to us in the Karma Yug of Kaliyuga, we start to slowly exhaust the resources that we have. We start to slowly fall behind. Hence, sadhana is something that definitely is done at all time. However, just like the earth happens to be fertile, but the season of plantation, when the rain is there, when the change is there, when the perfect weather is there, when the perfect condition to start is there, we plant at that time and reap the benefit throughout the year. It's exactly the same with Shravan. While you should continue to ever, do your sadhana, continue to advance in your sadhana throughout the year, which has a lot of different times like Shivaratri, we have, times like the Navaratri, we have a lot of auspicious times, but Shravan happens to be a time which is highly fertile for new beginnings, highly fertile for new sadhanas, highly fertile for new changes. This is the time where the Devtas will always emerge victorious against Asuras. The positivity will always win against negativity, only if you give it a chance.
That's quite right. So when we talk about good and bad, and you spoke about how Shravan purifies, and we have heard you talk about how Rudraksha helps with that purification. One question that always bothers me, and when we also talk about prenatal karmas, which we have no control over, right? What if my karmas are bad? Like I've heard people say that something as big as Brahman Hatya, which essentially is murder, right? It can also be solved by the right kind of sadhana, by using the right kind of tools for your sadhana. What do you say
Correct.
to that? Because a lot of people don't understand it. Okay, how can this even happen?
See, there are a lot of kleshas or blockages to spiritual transformation, and our karma happens to be just one of them. Karma is an ever-running cycle. There are three forms of karma: sanchita karma, prarabdha karma, and agami karma, that are said to be staying in the karmic womb. But us as humans have the ability to cleanse our karma. There are different form of yogas, there are different form of practices that I also talk about in my book, where you are able to face these karmas or perform karmas without any intentions to purify the karmas. And there are practices like mantra, tantra, and yantra, which are accessible to us humans, which allows us the ability to purify our karmas. Yes, you might have done, positive and a mix of negative in your prenatal, but if you are listening to this, or if you are reading scriptures, if you're already inclined towards bhakti, then there is a chance, because there is a side of positivity that is trying to win. What I say to those people who are already inclined but are not yet, completely surrendered, is give that inclination a chance. Give mantra a chance, give yantra like Rudraksha a chance, and you will eventually attain a point where your positive karmas will outweigh the negative. Hence, your karmic debt can be eradicated. That is a possibility that is said in Shiva Purana. Shiva Purana goes as much as saying that even, a glance of Jyotirlingas, or even a touch of Rudraksha, or even a chantation of mantra is able to remove the karmic baggages that we have, because it represents that if you're going to Jyotirlingas, if you're chanting mantra, that represents that you're giving the sattvic tattva, the positive gun in you, a chance. And that ultimately, eventually, not instantly, but ultimately through constant churning, is definitely guaranteed to bring out the Amrit that is within you.
That's such a beautiful sentiment. I love how we have come full circle to intentions. That if you have the right intention, you actually can make your own destiny, because you work towards
Correct.
purifying whatever has happened, and Rudraksh seems to be
Yes.
a tool that helps you do it. So, do you
Yes,
think that?
and like I always say, it does not have to be just Rudraksha. Rudraksha will ultimately and inevitably come to you in your journey, but you can start as simple as chanting a mantra, or just visiting a temple, or just closing your eyes and imagining Shiva and how he became the Nilkantha, and trying to embrace the challenges that you have today, and ultimately be known as the challenge. As there's a famous saying that the impediment to action is the way to action, right? So the obstacle in the way will eventually become the way. And I think Shravan is a grand representation of just that sentiment. And like you said, karmas can be faced. Life, I always tell this to my to people that I counsel. I always tell that life is not a roller coaster. It is not a it's not a fixed ride that you are just sitting as an observer and seeing the events happen. In life, you actually have the steering wheel with you. Yes, there are certain paths that you're predisposed to going, but you still have the steering wheel. And if you turn today, eventually the destination that you will reach is going to be much different than where you would have reached if you had not held the steering wheel at all.
That's actually very beautiful and deep. When you spoke about Shiv being Neelkantha, and when we were speaking right now, one does think that why did Lord Shiva do that? Because, we all know him as this all-powerful being. So one would imagine that nothing actually would faze him, right? So for him to decide, and he's very hands-off. He does not, from what we know of him, he lets things happen on earth, and because it's a school, so he lets us learn our lessons. So why then did he intervene during the Samudra Manthan?
So, there are selfless actions, just like I said, uttam karma, or actions that are selfless in nature, where you're not doing anything to prove upon, you're doing something for the greater good. And I think Shiva, in his representation of consuming the halahal and restraining it to the throat, has represented and done an action without a need, without a aspiration to achieving something. There is no end goal to that. That is a action done in order to save. That's it. And that is a selfless act that, I am no one to, define what Shiva did. But when I look at it, it looks like a selfless act. And the fact that the halahal does not go in, even if Shiva just consumed the halahal, I do not believe any substance in the world to be as great to cause any form of destruction to the great, Lord Shiva himself. However, what he's representing by, holding the halahal in his throat is not letting the, yes, face your challenges, face your obstacles, face the poison, but don't let it, completely, go within you. Hold it, face it, but hold it. Have the constraint, have the balance to hold it. I mean, you and I, we're humans. We, just not even swallowing for an hour would be tough for us, let alone being known as Neelkantha and holding the entire halahal. But, that, is a grand representation of small constraints, small balances, small restrictions that we put in our life that eventually help us conquer anything.
See, that's the beauty of Sanatana. Any story that you hear has so many lessons that you need to learn out of it, and your life would eventually be good if you could just understand what it is trying to tell you. But most of these stories are from Treta Yuga or from Satyug. And today, at this point, we are in Kaliyuga. At least that's what you feel like. Even if you don't believe in the scriptures, in everyone's heart, we know that somewhere we are in Kaliyuga. So how do you take those stories and then, make them make sense in the Kaliyuga? Is it the lessons or is there something else?
Kaliyug is also known as the Karma Yug. That's the reason people worship Lord Shani very heavily in Kaliyug. Kaliyug is actually, yes, Kaliyug is a yug where the negative forces do have power, but it is also a yug where the positive selfless actions are so rare that even a slight bit of selfless action, slight bit of bhakti is able to transform you quite rapidly. So Kali Yuga is an opportunity. It's see, in a garden full of roses, to find the most beautiful flower might be very difficult. But if you're looking at a barren land, then a single red rose can be visible from a very long distance. That's exactly what Kaliyuga is. Here, practices are sacred, practices are rare. Real transformation, real stories, real sadhana is very rare. But anyone who chooses the path of reality, chooses the path to embrace real, is transforming at a more rapid scale than what would have happened when everyone was following the same pace. So Kali Yuga has been known as a Karma Yug, where just give it a chance and see yourself transform. Anything is possible during Kali Yuga. I've even heard beautiful saying of sages and rishis and people who are in deep level of sadhana say that even devtas want to be born in Kali Yuga, because it's a karma yug. It is a yug when your karma really counts. So just performing karma in the Kali Yuga is able to transform a person. So yes, there are challenges, but that is also an opportunity.
The opportunity is very clear. So anybody who's listening should understand that this is not a time we need to be scared. This is not a time we need to be consumed by rage or guilt, because rage is everywhere nowadays. This is a time where we need to understand the importance of sadhana, and we need to put ourselves out there, even if it's going to be difficult in the start. But just keep on going, because at the end, I genuinely feel that Shiva and his grand gesture was somehow to make us feel that we need to keep going. And the cosmic world just wants us to, so it's why wouldn't we? So it just makes sense to me. And speaking of the cosmic world, I've heard a lot of times since I was a kid about huge cosmic changes that go across during the Shravan time. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Cosmic anything, for example, I like to say that to understand the ocean, just understanding the droplet is very, very much a representation of what the ocean really is, right? So, when we look at our nature, let alone the cosmic is too grand of a, too grand for us to be discussing, but just look at the world. What happens during Shravan? During Shravan, we see rain, we see heavy rainfall, we see the monsoon season that starts during Shravan, right? So apparently in a very short duration of time, when you look at it for what it is, you see destruction happening in Shravan, you see chaos in Shravan, you see flood in Shravan. But if you wait for a while, these destructions, these rains, these cosmic changes eventually result in the fresh harvest, fresh flowers blooming, new opportunities. That's exactly the cosmic change that happens. While change always is representation of, movement away from the constant, it is also a movement away from stagnation, movement away from being stuck, movement away from being, felt the feeling of being constant. Change during Shravan, while it happens in the cosmic level, is also seen in the nature's level and is also seen in your personal life's level. So whenever you want to understand the cosmic changes happening, just reflect on the nature. Just look around you. The world is sending you a message, and that message during Shravan happens to be very clear. The message is transformation is happening. Do participate in it.
So wonderful. When we talk about Shravan and the climate changes that are happening during Shravan, there are a lot of people who wonder, for example, if they do not believe in Lord Shiva, if they do not believe in the concept of Shravan, in the scriptures that they're reading, the stories that they're hearing, why should they still care about Shravan?
Yeah. So see, belief, for anyone who believes, people like who has a certain inclination of belief. For people who have belief seems to be common sense. Belief seems to be something that is always ever present. But I've always said this: belief is one of the rarest things. Bhakti, to surrender, to have faith, is extraordinarily rare and difficult, because the concept of bhakti requires you to surrender, requires you to let go, requires you to believe that every single action is meant for a greater good. And that requires a lot of positivity. That requires a lot of, optimism. So what I say to people is, if you're struggling to believe, if you're struggling to make sense, if nothing makes sense to you, if you feel that the world is designed to let you down, then what I recommend is, reflect and try to visit temples, try to visit these places where you see a lot of people believing together, where you see changes happening. Read stories, read the Puranas, read the Vedas, read the stories of change, and give change a chance. You have lived all your life where you have, questioned, you have doubted, and questioning and doubt is very much required. It's a required, quality for Hinduism, for Sanatana Dharma. You need to question, but at times you also need to believe. You also need to believe, and that belief for you might be completely different than what that belief is for me. Some people like to believe in universe. Some people like to believe in Shiva. Some people like to believe in Mahavishnu. Whatever that belief resonates as, that's the reason we have 33, forms of Devta, Tetis Koti Devta available, because everyone's belief is different. But the concept of belief, the concept that every single thing is happening for the greater good, that there is God up there looking, for us, is a belief that is required. And that positivity will definitely translate into positive outcomes in your life as well.
That's true. The beauty of Sanatana is that it gives me the right to question. It gives me
Correct.
the authority to be confused. And I feel that's what it gives me. And my duty is to then listen, is to then read,
Correct.
to then understand.
Because one very beautiful thought that you said is, it gave you the authority. It's a very important word. There is not a single authoritative figure when it comes to Sanatana Dharma, right? The reason for that is because the Brahma, the Brahma, which is the force, which is the source of everything, that resides within you and within me. Right? So we are part of the Creator himself. The part of the Brahma is within us. So there is no one that is superior or inferior. All of us are equals, and all of us are in this journey. The only thing that the other person can tell you is to help you look at the mirror, is to help you dive deeper within the Amrit that is already within you. So no one here is, bringing a cup of Amrit and giving it to you, because you already have the Amrit. The only thing we're helping you do is to churn the Amrit that is already within you. And hence the beautiful, circle of Sanatana Dharma, any story, any concept ultimately, connects. And, you and I, if we sit here, we can talk about Shravan and the Mahima of Shiva all day, all night. But the most important message, I think, is that transformation is accessible during the year, but it happens to be much more accessible during the time of Shravan. Whatever means, whatever knowledge that you have, try positivity, try real change, and give real sadhana a chance.
I think anybody who feels stuck somewhere, who feels that they're lost, who feel that they've taken a step too far from who they were or what their dharma dictated them to be, I think Shravan is a good time for them to reflect, because the energies are so, and you have told us so many good things about how to do it. So for somebody who is in this position, now they also might not know a lot about how to do sadhana. So, and you spoke a lot about making it accessible. So is there something that you suggest such new sadhaks to try out?
Yeah. So let me, there's multiple forms of sadhana, but let me give you a basic practice, like a 3-step process. What I would say is, during Shravan, I would recommend waking up a little bit early. The reason we wake up early is because we can hear the silence. We can hear, the earth slowly starting to wake up. So waking up before the rush, the hustle and bustle of the cities allows us to be in silence. So wake up a bit early. Try to cross your leg in a clean space. It does not have to be a room, a beautiful room, a puja room, whatever is accessible to you. Wear, clean clothes. shower if possible, and cross your leg, wake up early, meditate on Shiva. If you don't know the mantra, if you can't even pronounce the mantra, you have no knowledge, then just open YouTube or open, any application, where sadhana is accessible to you, and try to do a few mantras. Close your eyes and, be thankful, be grateful. And that day, choose to believe. That day, choose to transform. That day, choose to see the positive that is within you. That day, try to embrace the challenges that stop you. And, a month of this practice, which is the most basic practice accessible to anyone in the world, can also help you transform. So, advanced sadhaks do mudras, tantras, advanced practices, but your practice, it's just like going to the gymnasium or going to the, working out for the first time. You see a lot of people lifting heavy weights, doing heavy deadlifts, and you feel it's natural for you to feel like you don't know anything. But the first day at the gym, you always start by stretching, right? You always start by warming up or doing a little bit of, walking. And that walk in a year translates into you doing the heaviest lifts, you breaking your own personal records. So a physical example of such is directly translated in the spiritual, evolution, spiritual transformation, and the spiritual practice a person can do as well. So for a basic person, just remembering, just even chanting a single mantra can be a great start. It's never too less or never too early to start, and never too late to start either. So you can start in Shravan.
And the great thing is that whatever you have told us, fasting, waking up early, self-discipline, being regular in your sadhana, self-reflection, these are all the things that's great for you. It's great for your mind, it's great for your well-being, it's great for your physical body. So Shravan is a space where you concentrate on yourself. So even though people feel it's about external thing, what you have made us realize today is Shravan is about yourself, about
Correct.
just reflecting onto yourself, working onto yourself, making yourself better, because at the end, you do believe that you have a part of God inside of you. So you're actually just worshipping that part. So that's
Absolutely.
a great
Beautiful.
way to put it. What would you like to conclude? Just a few sentences conclude Shravan for us.
So, see, I'm, blessed to be talking about Lord Shiva, talking about Samudra Manthan, talking about Shravan. And what I want to say is, in life, there are certain, in the entire course of the year, there are certain times where the universe opens its portal, gives us a chance, gives us space, and it's as if a time for you to sit down and reflect. It's like when we were kids, we used to have summer vacations where you can just from the daily routine you get a break. Consider Shravan to be just that. A break from your mundane, a break from the constant, a break from your stagnation, a time where you can just reflect on who you really are, reflect on the challenges that you really face, and face those challenges and let the new transformation begin. So that is what my thought is during Shravan. I wish every single one of the people listening to this a very happy Shravan 2025. And if you've made it to the end of the podcast, I definitely do think that you have the desire, the hunger, and the, craving to transform. And I think you're already in the path. So congratulations and happy Shravan to every single one of the listeners.
Thank you so much, Sukritya. Knowledge is the first step to transformation, and you so freely share it. So we're all very grateful to you for that. Thank you.